Welcome everyone, and thank you for coming. We just want to acknowledge the traditional owners and continuing custodians of Lutruwita, Tasmania, our beautiful island home, and we strive through our performances and our values to contribute towards the future profoundly respects culture, language and history. And just one little announcement before I introduce Dr. Bob Brown. You might have noticed, I can see people holding them, you've got the lyrics for the chorus of Let the Franklin Flow. Being a Festival of Voices concert, you're going to have to sing along at some stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve, and welcome everybody. And I'm very pleased to be here with Steve and Kate, Monique, to take you through some poetry which I wrote first up as a young fellow, very troubled, pretty repressed, and there's a certain sweet melancholy through tonight, but it's the other side. It's the "Ah, poor bird, take thy flight through the night." To the being out there, being an environmentalist, I'm very optimistic about life, very happy with it, but you know, you've got to keep your eye on what on earth are we doing here. And these poems were picked up by Steve, getting towards a decade ago now, and he put them to music. And the result is here we are tonight with this set of 6 poems called But Then. And the first is written when I was really at the end of my tether. I'd come to Tasmania and I was forcing myself to sit out on the front veranda in -6 frosts, etc., instead of in by the fire because I go to sleep there. And I was trying to write a philosophy of life, but it wasn't going too well. And as you'll hear further down the line, part of that was the repression of homosexuality at the time. And that's got a thread through these poems. But I hope they'll strike a chord because all of us have our vicissitudes in life, have our times of reflecting on I remember my mum saying to me, "Bob, what is this about?" And I was shocked. But there you go. We all reflect upon it. And these poems are written as an expression of how I was feeling at different times down the line. We go right back to 1973 when things weren't good. This poem was originally called Suicide, but I took that name off because Bertrand Russell, the great British philosopher of the time, said that if you haven't considered suicide, maybe you haven't considered life. And I thought about that. And I did get very close to taking it seriously, but each time the potential of life itself and the love of people around me got in the way. However, this is called considering life. Silently she flies through the clouds in my skies, stopping only to stare at my consciousness when she sees that I've stopped to scan the universe. I see her there between the gathered vapours, and sometimes hers is the only face I can see. She has no beauty and no ugliness, no smile or scowl, but she offers from her open palm the earned certainty of infinite nothingness. Sometimes hers is the only face I can see. Thank you. Also in 1973, I came to Tassie in 1972, at the time of the flooding of Lake Pedder, and I saw the lake. But I went back to Sydney to take on some locums. I was a young general practitioner. And at lunchtime, I was at a practice in Miranda in Sydney. I went across to Botany Bay and was parked by the beach at Brightonley Sands, looking across the bay to Mascot Airport. And the Gulls were wheeling around in front. And the new Boeing jetliners were taking off from the tarmac in the distance. So this is about that disjuncture between the living birds in the foreground and the technological marvel in the background. It's called oddity. A flapping wing thing in the air ruffles the photons that fall to my mind. An aluminium arrow narrow through the atmosphere is not that kind. I would that the latter matter, a commodity, should not shatter the former, warmer oddity. An aluminium arrow narrow through the atmosphere is not that kind. Don't shatter the former, warmer oddity. Well, I came back to Tassie, bought the house up at Liffey, which Bush Heritage, Paul and I gave it to Bush Heritage in 2011. It's now a public reserve, so you can go and wander around there. And I see our neighbours, Paul and Anamika, here tonight. And it's open to the public. It's a beautiful picnic ground. It's beneath the towering turrets, probably with snow on them tonight, of Tatitikatika, once called Dry's Bluff. And I realised in that first winter in 1974 that this valley, high and cold, was also prone to some great winter storms and the occasional snowfall, frequently on the mountain, only sometimes down at home. So this poem from 1974 is called Winter Night at Liffey. When sleep shuts off the winter gale with its freezing rain and hail that clatters on the iron, and then silence wakes me to a still. a softest quiet. I smile to myself, knowing through the night it's snowing. After the gale, knowing through the night it's snowing. It's snowing. It's snowing. Well, sometimes after the storm comes halcyon days, and we're going forward right now. Oh, yes, I can. Before we go to right now to the halcyon days, there's going to be some halcyon days for a couple of people sitting right here. Steve's about to draw some lucky seat prizes. Well, I'm going to draw them. He's going to hold the hat. I hope you know your number.
Sorry, the number's on the back of the lyrics.
Specially signed by Monique.
That's Bob when he was 50.
What's your number, Paul? J85, orange. Oh.
Who's got 85?
Oi.
Max Angus's book on Petter.
Oh, this is Max Angus's book, Petter. His fabulous paintings of Lake Petter.
Signed by Bob.
It's a pretty good book, but it's got some scribble at the front. This is orange again, J6.
And a voucher from Red Parker, this shop.
Voucher from Red Parker, and this is going to, thank you, Red Parker. Very close, J13.
There'll be another round. You get 3 songs.
Yes.
I mean, how could they love you more, Bob? But this is a kicker.
Yes, that's the house at Liffey. I'm sorry, I should have told you. With Te Tika Tika in the background, that's one of the biggest day walks. It's 3 Empire State Buildings to the top, and you're welcome anytime. And there's now, these days, there's a caretaker there, so the house doesn't get robbed every second week when I'm in the Senate. And thank you for asking. Yes.
But we were sitting backstage and we could tell that Bob's used to spending time there because we were all freezing cold, and I looked at Bob and I said, "You're not cold at all, are you?" And he said, "No, I'm not."
Well, then we go forward to 1995, and that year for me was transformative because although I'd bumped into him before, that's when I really met Paul. And, you know, I had thought I'd be on my own for all of my life, but in the lottery of the universe, he happened to be alive on the planet in the same neck of the woods as me. And it has transformed my life. It meant that I could stay in the Senate. I wouldn't have otherwise. And I'm here happy and yarning with everybody and enjoying this music tonight. But for a little while, I was full of self-doubt. No doubt about him, but doubt about myself. I mean, who'd want to live with me? It's a bit like Groucho Marx saying, I don't want to be in a club if they'd accept me as a member. Anyway, it was something to get over, and I did. And when I got over that and realised that we were companions for the rest of our lives, and the marvellous feeling that comes from that, the security that comes from that, thank you, Paul, I just wrote, "But then," to Paul in the years following 1995. But then you knocked upon my morning door. We sat at breakfast on the floor. You walked along that stream with me, and in the silence set me free. I had roamed the wildness of the earth, and to the darkest glade I fled, a human being all alone, alone until I would be dead. But then you knocked upon my morning door. You walked along that stream with me, and in the silence set me free. And then you knocked upon my morning door. And we sat at breakfast on the floor. And you set me free. How life can change. But you know, But earlier in life, I was lucky to have an indulgent and environmentally motivated mother called Marjorie May, and she survived through some pretty turbulent times herself, and it came to the Franklin River campaign. I remember it very clearly because she had cancer and I couldn't spend the time with her that I wanted to. But she hung on and she came to Liffey in that house, and I was able to care for her with my father and my siblings and the help of Libby, the doctor up the road, in the last 3 months of her life. She survived to see the Franklin River saved, and she loved that. And this is a little poem written years later, sitting by her grave and that of my father. He's got old Jack's last anchorage. He was a fisherman and wanted that on his... He survived my mother by a few years. And she's got on her headstone, she lived for those she loved, because she did. So this poem, written in 1998, is called She Lived for Those She Loved.
Your life devoted to nature, my son. I'm proud that I was your mother. You have her eyes and you have her dreams. She planted joy the roses spring from this mound, so springs her spirit free.
I have her eyes, I have her dreams. She planted joy in me. And as the roses spring from this mound, so springs her spirit free.
I live my life for those that I love.
I have her eyes and I have her dreams. And so I have. And of course, those you love live with you long after they're gone because they're part of who we are. She did live to survive and see the Franklin flowing free to the sea. And that was a great thing to know that she could appreciate. You see so often that kids who get involved with something that turns out right don't have their parents left to appreciate that as well.
Bob, it would be remiss of me not to interrupt you at this moment, though, just to ask you to recount the story, however, of how your mother was viewed in the town.
Oh, well... yes, she was, when she was ill, when I went to see her, she had a big operation which didn't succeed. And she was asked by a very grim-faced orderly at the hospital, "Are you a greenie, Mrs. Brown?" And she said, "Yes, of course I am." It was a testing on her. And then log trucks going up the road at Liffey when she was in extremis used to peep the horn as they were going past. And some pretty nasty things arrived in the letterbox, which I censored before they got to my parents. And then when she died, a log truck yelled out at the little funeral cortege at Bracknell Cemetery. But through all of that, it didn't matter. You know, we were all together in this, and still are. And
Bob, she was a looker. This is what
yes.
I'm she was a good-looking lady.
Well, Monique, well, you see the defiance signs here. It's the last book in me.
Absolutely.
And that's coming out on October the 1st. And just today, yesterday, I've sent a picture of my parents when they were had got together back in the 1930s to the Black Ink publishers. But I was in a car, aged 12, at Glen Innes in northern New South Wales, where she came from, and my uncle and aunt went into town. We scrubbed and polished our shoes the night before, went into town, and I was sitting in the car waiting for them, and a gentleman came over and leant on the windowsill and said, "Bob, I just wanted to tell you that your mother was the best-looking young woman in Glen Innes," and everybody wanted to dance with her. So that might have been a bit indiscreet, but I felt fabulous. Thanks, Monique, for reminding me of that. Well, the Franklin was a defining period. We're back in 1973, and the campaigning for it was ferocious. And I went to Bendigo, which had a very strong no dams contingent with the Wilderness Society there, and it was quite pivotal, as it turned out, in the following election, which saw the Hawke government come in and save the Franklin. But tired out of my mind, I was coming back to town, that is Melbourne, and I got this request to call in at a recording studio. And always doing what I'm told, I did. And Shane Howard, our wonderful balladeer, who was then with the band Goanna, had been to the Franklin and had written the marvellous anthem, Let the Franklin Flow, which was played all over the country on the 1st of July 1983, when the Franklin was saved by the High Court decision. So that's the 42nd anniversary of that. Is the 1st of July yesterday or today? Yesterday. And he put down this record, which went into the top 10, was being played all over Australia. And what they wanted me to do was ad-lib, give a story about where the Franklin campaign was at on the flip side. And I did the best I could. So what we're going to do is listen to that flip side. This is back when it looked like the dam was going to be built. In fact, it was underway. And here's that flip side first, and then we'll hear Shane Howard singing Let the Franklin Flow, and hopefully, if you can join in, the words are on the card that you all have for the chorus of Let the Franklin Flow.
The Franklin is a wilderness, and a wilderness is a place that doesn't have roads. It's got no fences, there's no towns. It's a place that hasn't been devastated or scarred or changed by the tinkerings of modern mankind. And as such, it's a place that reminds us of the world as it was, our green planet, before the age of science and technology came along and changed everything, and we should keep it.
Let the Franklin flow, let the wildlands see, the wilderness should be strong and free. From Clear to the southwest shore, has to be something worth fighting for.
It's important to save wilderness areas because wilderness is nature, it's the original planet, and we're part of nature, and we've come from the original nature on this planet. We're all part of nature ourselves, and if we destroy wilderness, destroy our links back with nature. We cut ourselves off from nature. And mankind can't live by dollars and cents and kilowatts and cars and concrete and plastic alone. We need more to that. We've got a spiritual side to our living, and that spirit has a strong connection with nature. There isn't anybody on the planet who can't get joy and fulfilment from the Franklin River.
So let the Franklin flow, let the wildlands see. The wilderness should be strong and free. From Katakina to the southwest shore, has to be something worth fighting for.
If the dam goes ahead, we're going to lose more than just a river. We're going to lose a wilderness which is full of thriving wildlife, the platypuses, the ringtail possums, the millions of furred and feathered creatures which have dwelt in that region for millions of years. We'll lose the Huon pine trees, some of which are so old that they were growing there at the time when Christ walked the planet. We're going to lose the caves, the waterfalls, the chasms, the canyons. There's so much to be lost, and it's up to us, because only we can save it. If our children are to have those things, it's up to us, and to us now. No one else at no future time will be able to save it, to bring it back. We must save the region, and we must do it now.
Once it's gone forever.
Tasmania, the hardest heart would understand. Just to feel your wilderness, the silent things to me. So let the Franklin fall, let the wildlands be. The wilderness should be strong and free. From Kudakina to the southwest shore, has to be something worth fighting for. Velvet forests and we scar the land, has to be something worth fighting for. And desecrated with greedy hands, destroy the beauty that nature plans. Let the Franklin fall, let the wildlands be. The wilderness should be strong and free. From Kanakina to the southwest shore, has to be something worth fighting for. 1,000 people been arrested and bailed, has to be something worth fighting for. Voices crying in the wilderness, saying this is something worth fighting for. Let the Franklin fall, let the wildlands be. The wilderness should be strong and free. From Kudakina to the southwest shore, has to be something worth fighting for. Oh, Tasmania, the hardest heart would understand. Just to feel your wilderness, the silent things to me. So let the Franklin fall, let the wildlands be. The wilderness should be strong and free. From Kudakina to the southwest shore, has to be something worth fighting for. Let the Franklin fall, let the wildlands be. The wilderness should be strong and free. From Kudakina to the southwest shore.
You know, we were flying back from Brisbane, the High Court decision on that 1st of July 1983. When we landed at Sydney Airport, there were 100 people there with no dams placards, shouting and very happy as we swapped planes. And a woman came up and she said she was from Blacktown in the western suburbs of Sydney. I'd gone to high school there, so I knew it well. And she said, I was ironing this morning at 11 o'clock and I heard the neighbours in the next flat screaming. And I didn't call the police. I started screaming too because I knew the High Court decision had gone our way. And they were dancing in the street. So we got some more prizes. Hang on to your seats.
As if you couldn't like him anymore.
So this beautiful album from Monique, again, is yours if you are
Bob when he was 50, Bob when he was 50.
Could be you.
2025. Well, Jay again, Orange, 59. Oh, hand-signed Winter Night biography, 45 vinyl. All you've got to do is buy a record machine. And this is Steve's marvellous production.
Called a turntable, Bob.
Oh, a turntable.
Those record machines. We were
It's
talking-
like they said, oh, the dam in the wilderness will only be take up a tiny of the area, and that's when we picked up on the idea, yes, it's like a scratch across your Beethoven record. Takes up a tiny area, but makes a hell of a difference. Whoa, we're on to H, Orange.
112.
112, 112.
Bob, we were talking about some slides today, though, and I didn't know what that apparatus was called that you were looking at that. What was that, some sort of box?
I'm going through 52,000 slides of Elspeth and Ralph's at the moment. They're long departed, but they had the best collection of Lake Pedder slides in existence, and some going back to 1939. So there's some fabulous... It's taking a long time, but it's well worth it.
A set of my CDs.
Oh, a set of Steve's CDs is yours if you're
And some
sitting,
steak knives.
and if you're sitting in seat
I can't sell them, so...
And a meat tray.
J50. Val.
Everyone, Kate just made a suggestion on cello. This is beautiful Kate, everybody. Corwell, isn't she amazing? But can I just say, she just said we need to have a launch. A launch?
Well, that's a great idea. We have a launch of a different kind came up the Derwent at 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And that was the Denison Star, which took so many tourists and blockaders to that Franklin blockade. Biggest hue and pine ship ever built. And I'm going to have a look at it. It's completely refurbished, so I'm going to have a look at it in the next few days, and there's some bonza plans for that.
Oh, yeah.
It could even replace the stadium up in...
Signed in Belfast Street.
Oh, this is a signed little poetry book in Balfour Street. Who signed it? Oh. I can rub it out. But in Balfour Street, ladies and gentlemen, the little poetry book. Again, it's J39.
You all need a glass of wine now.
Congratulations. I know. I know. And
That's you.
believe it or not,
It's what you do, Bob.
the next couple of poems are happier too.
Thank God.
In consonant with a life that gets better as you go along, you know. Well, I was talking earlier about the insecurity of being in a relationship that I never thought I'd get into, and wondering how anybody would want to keep that going. But Paul's a stoic, and he was understanding. He's all very quiet, but always there. And he's a good cook. And he does the washing up and I do the wiping up. And anyway, enough of that. But after a little while, as I said earlier, I had to get over the idea that this wasn't a fragile relationship, this was security. And I wrote in 2007 this poem called Secure. I was afraid you'd leave me, like the moon bumped free of the earth by some galactical collision, so that the two of us were in a separate thrall, unable to get back together, ever. But now I realise that the light of your eyes will always be with me. And the full moon is never far away. Now I realise that the light of your eyes will always, always be with me. And the full moon is never far away. The light of your eyes will always be with me. Well, being in the Senate and various other things didn't leave much time for writing poetry. But when I was a young fellow, back in that miserable silence of being gay in a world in which you face 20 years in jail for having such a relationship, I was at Sydney University studying medicine, and I walked down past Grace Brothers Emporium, which is now a gaggle of different shops, past the little lake in the park over near City Road, where my father told me that one of the Grace Brothers had, many decades before, drowned. but there were ducks on the pond. And I thought to myself, if I can ever get out of this fix, I'm going to make a stand for miserable young women and men like me who can't talk about what it is that ails them. And so here I am, 40 years later, walking down that same street, seeing those same ducks on the pond, and thinking, well, the shackles are gone, life's changed, people are freer than they were back then. I've seen this in my own lifetime, and boy, what a good change it's been. Here we are, the Broadway, Sydney, in 2018. To think that I strolled up this same street. The pond ducks are generations on, but I was in such misery. Yet alert to the gift of life with its basket of crisp improbabilities. To think that I swore if ever I could escape my fix with its deadly consequences, I would do what I could for later miserable young strollers. To think the unthinkable, that one day in my lifetime it would be all right. Homosexuality would be seen in terms of rainbows rather than scaffolds or oncoming tornadoes. I have lived to have left a logged, clear-felled ruin and strolled into a new, safe, vibrant rainbow, rainforest of possibilities. Here is this improbable but wonderful reality. It would be seen in terms of rainbows rather than scaffolds. This wonderful reality. Thank you. Thank you.
Bob Brown, everybody. Kate Colwell on the cello. And our music director, please give it up for Mr. Steve Crump. Thank you to our sound, Eric, very much. And the Peacock Theatre and all of you for coming down. Bob Brown, everyone.
Thank you. We do have a little encore. This is a little tune I wrote as a teenager, but it's the words are, again, about, well, the flowers that bloom in summer, even though here we are in winter. So, well, thank you. Here we go with Summer Blossoms. That'll do.
I met a boy just down the lane. Well, Bob did. He shared a joy, he shared some pain. I met a boy, he lived just down the lane. Our love is true as it was in vain. A child of mine pranced on my knees. His bones are deep beneath the seas. My bonny babes now prance on their knees. New flowers that dance in summer breeze. Oh! Bob, they're new flowers that dance in the summer breeze.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's been an absolute joy playing for you. And Steve, I've just got to say how magical you are in the world, and we love you very, very much.